So I've been looking for a game that is apparently Souls-like Thymesia, which means memories in Greek, I believe. Well, I'm pretty sure actually. I just saw it, but I'm just going to pretend I knew it already. Just joking. But this game apparently, Thymesia is a grueling action RPG, fast-paced combat, and an intricate plague weapon system. In a kingdom where death spreads, play as a mysterious character known by the codename Corvus. Prey upon your enemies, wield the power of disease, and find the truth in your own memories. So, Thymesia, like I said, means memories in Greek. Now, I was looking at the gameplay, and to be honest, like I haven't bought the game because it's not out already, so obviously I can only rely to what I can find. We will be looking at the trailer and some reviews by some people, and I have found a lot of negative reviews of the game. Well, mid-tier positive, around 70 out of 100, so like 7 out of 10, and that's not good. And by looking at the graphics, well, I do see that they're trying to imitate what seems to be like Elden Ring. Now, this guy right here was explaining like the weapon system and like nothing never before seen, but the graphics look lame as hell. I know it's apparently a short game and it's like 10 or 15 hours. It's probably going to be like $30 for the game, but it's probably going to be a fun little game to play, but I'm not expecting anything in the level of like Elden Ring or like From Software type games. Some people say this is like a little bit of a copy of Bloodborne. That's what I read from some people. Like right here, when you look at the tags for this game, they say Souls-like, difficult, hack and slash, dark fantasy, single player action RPG, third person. But the tag that caught my attention is Souls-like. Now, is it really Souls-like? I don't know, but it does seem a little bit like a copy of Bloodborne, a little bit. It reminds me a lot of Bloodborne. So, looking at these comments right here from actual people on Facebook where I asked about the game, this guy says, I've been following their page for probably over 2 years now, seeing their progress, and they've been putting a lot of effort into it. I'm really hoping it's as good as they've been showing. Of course, if you're following the page where the game is, they're not going to show like the bad things of the game. They're only going to show the good things of the game and make it look better than it actually is. Well, for sure, they're not going to make it look bad. That's 100% sure. This guy here says, from the reviews I trust, it seems to be a short game, like 10 or 15 hours to get through. The game is short if you're familiar with Souls-like combat, but they all say the combat is very polished and an absolute blast. I don't mind shorter games, and he continues by saying that the game is around $30 US. This guy right here says the demo was really bad, so unless they fixed a lot of it, it's a hard pass for me. Now, that's bad when someone says that. But if you go look at Metacritic, Metacritic was pretty harsh, but it's a bunch of websites that did a review of the game, and the reviews were not that good. It said 10 positive, 14 negative, and mixed, and 1 really negative. The one that was negative was a little bit harsh on the game. I don't know what they were expecting from the game. I was reading it, and I was like, what do you expect? Like a perfect game? It's like the first game from this company. But on Metacritic, they did give, after Elden Ring, they gave Neon White a score of 90, which still blows my mind as I'm talking about it. But I read some of the positive reviews, and they seemed like biased, so I started reading the ones that are a little bit less biased, the ones in the middle that give them a score of 70, and what they say is pretty interesting. They say Thymesia is a solid debut for Overborder Studio. It has some rough edges, but it's still a good time, thanks to the focus on core combat mechanics, aided by the versatility of its plague weapon system. It may not stand among the best in the jar, but it has enough going for it to see it through to the end. So basically he's saying if you start playing the game, you'll probably play it through the end. So that's not that bad, but 70 out of 100. Eurogamer Italy says, Thymesia is an interesting action RPG with good ideas. Unfortunately, not all of them are developed properly. As the first game of Overborder Studio, it turns out to be a good debut, hoping that this experience will serve to smooth out all the edges on the narrative and game balance in the future. The next review on Metacritic with 67 says, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but when the imitation does little to add to its own twist and ideas to an already established formula, it ends up as little more than a cheap copy of the original. For those desperate for Sony to finally port Bloodborne over to PC, Thymesia might be a good stopover. Still, for anyone looking for a genuinely good Souls-like experience, your time is better spent elsewhere. Ooh, RPG fan with a score of 67. So that's like in the teeth right there. I'll repeat what he said. Well, RPG fan, the website said, still, for anyone looking for a genuinely good Souls-like experience, your time is better spent elsewhere. So in other words, if you're buying this game hoping for a Souls-like experience, they don't recommend it on RPG fan. They literally say it's like imitation. It's an imitation, so it must be a little bit like Souls-like, but at the same time, it's not as good, from what I understand. Now, will I buy this game? I don't think so. So far, like $30 to play a game 15 hours. I'll pass. It's not my type. Maybe you guys will enjoy it. Comment down below if you guys have played the game and if you liked it. Thanks for watching. And if you want to help the channel out, please subscribe.